it is indeed a family affair on Marvel TV Weekly. There's family issues abounding on Legion and on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And why not take your family to see Infinity War? Marvel TV Weekly starts now.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, that's right. We'll bring it on. Bring things down a little bit.
Ooh.
Space, the final frontier. No, actually, I've got my shows confused. Some of you might be tuning in looking for Star Trek Weekly, but that's on a little hiatus. But 50% of that panel is indeed here.
Hey.
Or actually, we're 67% of the panel. 50% of this panel is from Star Trek Weekly, Kari and I. We're here Sunday nights talking Marvel TV now. And joined, as always, well, I'm Christian Bladt. That's important to note. Joined, as always, by Michael Shirley.
Yeah, you had to get your name out there first, didn't you?
Well, it would be weird if I introduced you and didn't introduce you. I guess I could have gone through everybody. And next, Michael Shirley, who do we have? It's Amy Cassandra Martinez.
Hi. Happy
And
Sunday.
on the other end of the desk, the aforementioned Kari Lane.
What's up?
And in the booth, TBT, Tony has done it again. Indeed, Tony B. Tony _. Thank you for the musical selection.
Thank you for having me. It feels good.
That's true. We moved days and times, and
And
I
studios.
requested that's true, and studios. And I requested that Tony be with us. We might have gotten somebody else, but I was like, no, we're part of the TBT army. Anyway,
This is part of our Marvel family.
exactly. I'm so glad you brought up the family
There you go.
aspect of it.
Sweet stylings
And
of
we
Tony.
know it's late, but thank you for joining us in the live chat. And if you're not live, it's okay. Comment down below.
But if they are live, name check anybody who's there.
We got Zayas. Zayas Bilu.
I love
Dedication.
Zayas.
Found
Always.
us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my boy.
And
Anyone else find us?
where's Star Drew? How did he not find us? It's all right. I'm giving him a hard
It is
time.
late.
It is very
It's
late.
late, and it's
he
a
lives
new
in,
Switch,
I think he
so
lives
some
in
people might
Toronto
not be
too,
ready.
so it'd be like 1:30
Yeah.
in the morning. Anyway,
Whoa.
all right. So there's
Ivan's like Sundays now?
We got
Yes, that's the new
soda.
time.
yeah, it's the new time,
Yep,
but
yep.
it's all right. If you're catching the archive version of this, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter when we do it. There's
Yep.
so much to talk about, though.
Yes.
I think that we should start with Legion. And there is definitely a family angle on that episode, but we'll work the way from the end of the desk all the way back to us. Kari, you are on the Legion panel,
Yes.
which is what day and time?
It's on Wednesdays at 10. And
All right.
Amy fills in, and she'll be in there this week, too.
This is true.
So after the next episode. So
No, this Wednesday.
Wednesday.
This
Okay,
Wednesday,
so
yeah.
gotcha.
So
All
yes,
right.
after the yes.
Then, yes, I really like this episode. Are we
And we're talking about chapter 13.
keeping it spoiler free?
No, we don't do that here, but I'm glad you asked. We're talking
Okay.
about Legion and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D's very spoiler heavy because, there's not really...
That's why y'all are watching. You
That's
want
right.
to talk about it with us.
Because I was like, so wait, spoilers good. Because
Yes.
I'm like, it's a big deal. So the reveal about his sister,
Yeah, it's rough.
oh, that was shot so well, too. Like the body switch. And then I knew it, though, too. I kind of leaned over. I'm like, it's the sister.
Yeah, I had a thought earlier in this season...
What are you referring to? Sorry.
in
Legion.
In Legion. So...
If you don't know yet,
Sister.
Did you
No,
see
I
the...
watched it.
You saw the...
Oh, it's
you saw how
David's sister is now in. Lenny took over.
Yeah, that
her
whole
body.
that whole thing that Oliver
Yes.
did with that contraption, that was
Oh.
taking David's sister, who, by
Yeah.
the way, about the second episode of the season, I was like, wasn't his sister on a lot last
you're
year?
like, where is
and I was
she?
like, where'd she go?
Yeah.
And I think that was
Oh,
really
that's
well
so
done.
good.
And when look, they get to have the episodes be whatever length they want them to be on FX, which is great because you have sort of that mundane but like eerie overtone conversation
Yes.
about like, yeah, you ever have a feeling something bad's gonna happen? But you're able to really just kind of sit in that moment.
Yeah.
And,
I'm wondering, maybe I haven't seen this episode.
That's all right.
No, it's
You're
a
not
really
alone.
good episode. Because
Did you not watch it, Amy?
Honestly, I get confused because of the days. So I remember
Oh,
watching
yeah.
it because I obviously watch it for you guys, duh. But then I'm like, Did I fill in this
Yeah, were you
week?
on
It's
it?
just
Right.
a blur?
Well, this was
But I
this
feel-
is, this
I
is
thought I
chapter
did.
13, which aired this past
Was
Tuesday.
this the one where he spends like over and over with Sid?
That's the
No.
that's last week.
Okay, well then I gotta stay out of this conversation.
Yeah.
That's the
All right,
one I
so
was
this is just for
she's-
Well,
Kari and I.
either way, it was a
Okay,
really
yeah.
good episode because
guess I
the
haven't
week
seen it.
prior was the Groundhog's
Yes.
Day.
Yeah.
I
but
hated
this
that.
one,
Oh my
me
God,
too. I wouldn't say I hated
I've talked
it, but
about
I,
on
liked
this
it.
show
Yeah.
and actually on Star Trek Weekly. I don't like shows where you keep seeing the same thing again and again.
do you have a theory on what the 1 and 1 is not 2 means?
No, I'm not smart enough to that. You
I
have it.
thought
Okay,
it
well,
was-
explain
Okay,
explain
so
what it was.
Farouk is talking to Oliver, and Oliver is like, "I'm gonna kill you and beat you,"
Which I think is
And-
great.
Yes,
because
it's so nice.
He's so matter of fact about it. You're like, oh, I think he's right.
Yeah.
He's definitely going to do it.
And then he's like, all right. And he's like, well, Farouk's like, well, how are you going to do that? And can I get a hint? And Oliver says, okay, I'll give you a hint. What hint? What's 1 and 1? Or 1 plus 1.
2.
And then
that's
he
what
said
that's what Farouk
no.
says.
He
No.
says
And
no.
Oliver says-
11.
Well,
There's a theory it's 11, which Rick brought up. And then
does that mean the girl from Stranger Things?
I
I know what you're talking
No,
about.
my theory though is it was a couple because like 2 people and like essentially they're one entity.
So David and Sid.
Possibly.
Carrie
I didn't
and
say a name.
Carrie
but
and
the Carrie.
Carrie and Carrie.
I mean,
That's true.
isn't that the answer?
That is, they're
I mean,
it
tighter.
could
We
be.
don't know
One-
yet. Like it's just what's 1 plus 1, and
Yeah.
so it's either I thought like a couple. Carrie is a great idea. Nobody brought that up. Which is like, oh, we didn't think of that one. Or 11. But I'm excited to see where that goes. This episode continued like the beautiful cinematography because also they had to strategically because there's fun nudity that I'm like, oh, I liked how they had the camera and made
I'm
it.
glad
very
that you
interesting.
said it was fun nudity
It
because if
was.
I said it was fun nudity,
Oh, you'd be
then
like,
yeah, I'd be like, there is some really fun nudity in this
No,
episode.
we get to see Lenny naked from behind
Yeah.
and get to see her naked behind. She
we
looked
get to
great.
see we get a pretty good look at Aubrey's Plaza.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow.
Just
Were you
on that-
waiting?
no, just on
You
it
were
now.
like holding.
Definitely didn't see this episode.
You'd remember that, yeah.
But it's shot well because it makes sense in the context of it. I didn't know where that was going when like they had the skin piece and I was like, oh, what? But that was cool.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it it's not something that you see coming, right up until the point that it's like at home with David's sister, and then you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
But I think that it was well done, and the scenes with Lenny and David, I think, I mean,
Yes.
we're building up to that.
Yeah.
You know, we eventually want to get that, and I think it's great, but. David's very
Also-
cocky, and
he's very at the
and then so when he has his
beginning.
realization, then you're like, oh yeah, I should probably start doing something
yeah.
about this Shadow King.
Which
So-
also,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys announced yet that there will be an additional episode now in the Legion series. There's one more added
we
to the
didn't
docket.
announce it because I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
so
so
there are going to be 11
11
episodes.
So that's the other theory.
So that's
maybe
what
it
he
relates
means.
to that too.
He means 1 + 1 is episode 11.
That's it.
I kind of doubt that. But
I doubt that
I
too.
like that
but
theory.
Maybe it'll happen that episode.
That's true. Well, yeah, I mean, I think it'll
Yeah.
all happen that episode.
But yeah, we'll see. And then Zayas, I 100% agree. The contacts drove me nuts because Zayas says, yeah, contacts
Aubrey.
bad because the pupil doesn't change. That's exactly what I said. They're not really translucent enough, and because there's a scene in the interrogation. If you guys like what I'm talking about, she has these blue contacts,
Yeah.
and they just. Your pupils don't change, and it just looks so artificial that I'm like, could we have that's where I would want some digital effects. So I'm like, can we just
Well,
smooth
considering
that
all
out?
the stuff they do visually, it wouldn't have been that
It
hard,
looked- it just looked bad.
but it was just creepy to me. I didn't really think about whether it was
Well,
good or
that's
bad.
what it made me think of. The
I felt like
sister.
Lenny was looking into my soul, and it made me want to turn off the
Yeah.
TV.
But it was a good episode overall.
Well, you guys are gonna have to
It
catch
was
up.
Bless you.
by the way.
Woo!
That was a very Shadow King like sneeze.
Aha.
And what we talked about last week. Well, I guess on Monday we talked about. I really enjoy getting to see Amal Farouk. I
Yeah.
think it's much more interesting. It's cool that Oliver and Lenny were all in there too. And I think the preview for next week is a lot. There'll be a lot to unpack
I'm
from that.
very curious
because I
about
think
that
we're going
one.
to finally start to see some of these other personalities of David, which is a big part of the comic books.
Yeah.
And it's something that's kind of been missing from the series as a whole, to the extent that I was like, I don't know if we'll ever see it. So, Amy, you have to catch up this week because you'll be on the after show. Michael, you don't have to do anything, but I would hope that next week we'll be all caught up and we can all talk about it. But let us know in the chat what your thoughts are.
I
You
can't
just thought you
believe-
watched it.
I thought I watched
Same.
it. I don't know.
That's
Maybe
all right.
it's all Xfinity's fault.
Can we blame Xfinity for that, please? I mean, I don't have Xfinity, but if I did, I would blame them. All right, go ahead.
Before we get to the new shows, your fur coat was noticed. If you want to.
Oh, who noticed it?
Ivan's like, is he wearing a
likes
fur
it?
coat?
Of course he's wearing a fur coat because it goes with his amazing saber
Well,
tooth
it's maybe a little
shirt
hard to see
underneath
that
it.
saber.
Oh, that's true.
Long,
Can
yeah.
we, for those watching on YouTube, can you show off the saber tooth shirt,
shirt.
which is one of my
Look at the whole-
favorites?
And then you have
whole
the
thing.
necklace with the tooth too.
Yeah, I got a little tooth.
Yeah.
I love it.
I like being inspired a little bit.
Well, if
It's
we
very fashionable.
if we inspired you to be fashionable, then thank you. We will talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in a moment. Now, you guys are caught up on that.
Yes.
I think so.
All right, well, we'll find out. But first, want to have fun, learn, and grow in all areas of your life? For those who do, have we got the podcast for you. Conversations with Maria Menounos Podcast Edition is hosted by our AfterBuzz TV founder and drops every Friday on iTunes. Conversations with Maria Menounos features celebrity and influencer interviews, along with secrets and tips on how to be better in all aspects of life. From health and wellness to career, relationships, finances, and more, let our Maria be the big sister you've always wanted. Just go to iTunes and subscribe to Conversations with Maria Menounos for free. Be sure to rate and comment, and when you do, let Maria know that it was Marvel TV Weekly who sent you there. Conversations with Maria Menounos Podcast Edition. Check it out. I wonder if Maria has been talking about Infinity War this week. I guess I'll have to tune in and find out. Because she should be, but is she going to talk about it like spoiler-free, or is she going to dive into all the
I think
spoilers?
she gets a little deeper.
You think
than
just Infinity War?
yeah, blockbuster movies.
I just would hope she'd have time. Just a couple of minutes. That's all I'm asking for. But somewhere where they were talking a lot about Infinity War, thank you, was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. There was a reference last week, which was, hey, you heard about all that stuff going on in New York? No, I don't watch the news. And that was basically it. Now this week, Thanos conversationally figures in, and there was a little something that I noticed that happened several times in the episode, referring to like headquarters there at the lighthouse as Control, and they called it Control like 3 or 4 times. Now, if you remember, see, I've seen Infinity War twice now. Spoilers for Infinity War, spoilers for everything, just in case you didn't know. Right as, why can't I think of her name? Maria Hill disappears. Right before that, Nick Fury says, call Control. Why? Who's at Control? And I think that the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are like, oh, it's going to be us. They're like, even if he didn't mean that in the movie, we're going to position ourselves so that it's us. And then maybe there's going to be, like a little video phone call from, or maybe they're going to intercept the text to Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a tie-in over the next 2 weeks.
I hope so.
Next
want it.
week, can we talk about that great story I showed you about why?
I thought it was the story you told me before we started.
No, about why Samuel L. Jackson is Nick Fury.
We can definitely talk
and
about
why
that.
they changed him to a black man.
We can definitely talk about
Okay.
that. I love.
It's such a great story.
Yeah, I mean, he's no David Hasselhoff, but he's an adequate Nick Fury.
I think David Hasselhoff really looked like him.
Oh, like the comic book Nick Fury?
Physically?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He absolutely looked like him. Yeah. Anyway, so those are just a couple of my observations, but you can see that this is happening sort of at the same time as Infinity War. I think that creates some problems because you have like an alien invasion that's about to happen, and then you also have Thanos who's like, yeah, I'm busy here, guys,
I feel like it's all tied in with the Captain Marvel movie, like the Kree or whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that I don't know. I mean, is it established that like Cassius and his family are Kree because they're blue? I mean, I take it to mean
no,
that
they
they're
just keep talking about the Kree.
Yeah. But I thought that it was, I don't know, we've talked about this on the show before. I like how Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. usually will tie into whatever the Marvel movie is at the same time. Usually
Agreed.
it's
That's
the end of the
nice.
season, but there have been times where the movie comes out during the season. So, like I mentioned a couple weeks ago, they were cleaning up after Thor Dark World. So
Zayas makes a good point. Note, if Infinity War had been released on May 4th as originally scheduled, then the line in the episode, Thanos is attacking Earth as we speak, would have been totally on the nose.
yeah, that's a great point. I think when they went into production, it was still planned for them. But by the time they did post, they could have done some additional dialogue recording. ADR for those in the biz. Thank you. Anyway, so that's just some very specific Infinity War thoughts. But Michael, I'll go this way this time. What did you think of this latest episode? And General Talbot, superhero, the one who will save us all. I think that's the title of the episode.
Well, I kind of thought it was going that way with him.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think... I mean, obviously he was crazy when he went into that machine. So I didn't think, given what happened to Ruby, things were really going to go well for him.
I would have thought Ruby was tougher than him.
I
But
don't
maybe
know,
it's because he's got all the crazy stuff going on.
Well,
Maybe that's
that
what
was
they
a
pop
great
back
line
in.
of like, oh, those two voices, how do you deal with it? They just need a general to put them in line. And I was
That's
like,
true.
oh yeah, I buy that.
We all need a general to put us in line. That's why we have Tony B. Tony in the booth. He's our general. He keeps us
Yeah, stay in line, guys.
Thank you. At Tony B. Tony _. Anyway.
In general, though, I didn't just love it.
Yeah, I think that this is one of those episodes that's like, all right, it's kind of getting us to the end game. I did see a funny exchange on Twitter with Chloe Bennett, who plays Daisy, which was, how many times has Daisy been slammed into the roof of a building or into the ceiling, I guess is how it was phrased.
That stuff looked like crap, by the way.
Yeah, and she said way too many. So, even if it didn't look great, and even though there's a stunt person, there has to be like some coverage of her, like at least, going up like that. So
I did appreciate the fight with her and Yo-Yo. Speaking of her getting beat
Yes.
up, that was really fun.
Well, that will tie into our family theme here in the episode. Any other thoughts on the episode?
The way May stepped in, I was like, yep, permanently middle management. She's never gonna be the leader. She's just like,
she just shoots a gun up in the air.
But she's good for
she's
reining
the
people in.
cavalry. You know, the cavalry isn't gonna be. I mean,
You don't want her behind a desk. You need her out
no,
there.
you don't. No, she's just. I don't think she's ever gonna lead the team.
Well, I feel like she would do a better job than Daisy, but
I don't-
I love
Yeah.
Daisy, but I don't think she's a leader.
It's tough because in the comic books, Daisy, over the years becomes like the top S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. The only person that had the same clearance as her is Scarlet Widow. So she does it makes sense that they're trying to put her in line for this, but I think just the character development over the years, she's still very like kid sis daughter kind of thing, and it is kind of weird, and I think maybe it's intentional because Yo-Yo points it out. Like it is, you're not we didn't pick you.
Well, as I said,
sorry, I need to jump on that because we got quite a few comments last week of our opinions on Yo-Yo, Team Yo-Yo or not, and everything. But pointing out the Yo-Yo line of like, we didn't choose you, and someone's like, oh, well, they didn't choose Coulson either. But like,
Coulson chose
them.
them.
They
yeah,
came to follow
they all
him.
signed
Yes.
on with Coulson as leader.
Yes.
They didn't sign on to be
Exactly.
led by Daisy, and that does indeed factor into the family thread running through the
Yes.
episode. Is that sometimes family fight, and sometimes families have superpowers, and it makes for a way more exciting fight.
I don't really think Daisy's going to get where she is in the comic books, this way. I think like she needs to go in and be like a Maria Hill, kind of like standing at the side of Nick Fury maybe for a while.
I think that would be
she
a
would
good
be
role
like
for her.
appropriate person
Sure.
to do that.
She needs an intern.
And I feel like
Yes.
if anyone is
Internship.
gonna make it out of this franchise and merge with the movies, it would be Chloe
Daisy.
Bennett. Yeah.
I mean, I hope that the series is around next year at least. But if not, it'd be great to see Quake. It makes
It's gonna
sense.
get another season, no doubt.
I
They're
think-
gonna bill it as the final season.
I think that
come on.
ratings don't really figure into it. I think that
I was
ABC,
reading-
Disney is like, this is good for the business. This is
Yeah.
good to keep interest up. I have no idea how you tell the story for a year waiting for the next part of Infinity War, but that'd be the fun in it.
Like that would make perfect sense, though.
Amy, what did you think of the episode? I wouldn't. I
don't want to hear that.
I'm wondering if they would ever take it to the streaming service. You know how like,
the
Disney's
new
gonna
Disney
be.
service.
Just,
If it was starting like next year, maybe I don't know. It's a good
I
question.
don't know. Just if the ratings aren't that great, like take the fan base
I
that they
think
do
I think
have.
ABC has to take the hit if the ratings aren't great.
Yeah.
I think that it's just Disney/Marvel Studios is just like it just helps us to be on TV every week. It's
Yeah.
basically a free
Yeah.
commercial. Like, don't forget that we have all these movies coming up. But what did you
Marvel's
think of
Agents
this?
of S.H.I.E.L.D.
What do you think of this episode as a whole?
I liked it. I don't know. I don't know if I'm the only one that after Infinity War, like after that weekend, I'm just kind of like on my way down from everything. And right now, I'm just like, yeah, okay, cool. I want a lot of action, a lot of fighting, just like, wow.
We got fighting.
Yeah, but like a lot. Like I want the stakes to be high. Like people are gonna die. I mean, what's
we
her
have
name?
Talbot telling people to kneel. You
Yeah,
know,
that's cool. I like
he
that.
folded hell up into a suitcase.
That was I was
Oh,
like,
so
yo,
bloody.
Yeah.
that was so cool.
Yeah.
I don't know what that says about me.
This is a crappy
But-
way to go.
That
It looks like
sucked.
depends how
that
you die
sucked.
first. Like, is your spine snapped? Is your brain
Now
off?
that's a
my
question for
God.
the
I mean,
chat.
it's just more like humiliating.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
oh, that
yes.
was you.
Well, it's like,
I'm a box.
it's like great character. Okay, you're gone now. But
Yeah,
hey,
she
that's
was
that's
a
the way that's
snapped.
the, that's the
Did
way
you do that
Thanos
on
does
Sure,
things.
better.
Yeah.
I really liked Deke. Like at the beginning
Oh.
of the season, I was still kind of like, whatever, Deke, you're annoying. But now, like the way he acts with Daisy,
Okay.
I'm like, bro, I
When he first came to
Aw.
Earth, I really liked him. But now the talking to Daisy and just like, oh, I don't know if that would be weird for us. And she's like, why would that be weird for us? And I'm just like, oh, Deke.
I kind of like that.
I think I want him to be smarter because he has that
Yes.
moment where he goes to the high five with Fitz, and then he's like, no, that's weird. You're in a different time. Like, it'd be better if he goes, oh, is that different now? Like, which was smart that he asked it with the lemons.
Well, I was
he
going to say,
dumb
that,
as
that
hell
was the
for
moment
it.
that I really liked was that
Yeah.
Daisy was like, what are these lemons?
What a
Yeah,
weirdo.
Yeah, what a weirdo.
And he's
so-
like, yeah, totally fits.
Always
Yeah.
the excuse I use, like when it comes to like a Marvel character, like acting off. I'm always like social skills. They were on some island or
Yeah,
a spaceship.
I mean, he's
or
from the
Danny
future.
Rand.
and-
Exactly.
Yes.
He's not really around. Like he hasn't been
Yeah.
around humans like of now.
And
Yeah.
he does love Zima. Let's
Not
never
enough.
let's never forget how much he loves Zima.
Not enough
Yes.
vitamin D.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. He'd just been in a spaceship his whole life.
Yeah, I do like how they tied it in at the end with Infinity War, and I'm looking forward to what we're gonna see next.
I think decent.
Next episode.
He's adorkable.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
Because he's
I can
adorable
grant that.
and dorky, so
Yes.
he's adorable.
I was telling you, I was watching on the Lifetime movie network or whatever. There was a movie called Manson's Little Girl or Lost Little Girls. It was about Charles Manson or whatever, and Deke played Charles Manson.
Oh, that
And it
was
was-
weird.
Can you?
Yeah.
And you told me that.
And
I
it
was like,
was-
I can't imagine him
It
playing
was
Charlie
such
Manson.
a different character.
Was he good?
He was good.
Okay, so it's a good actor that
For a
could-
Lifetime movie,
Yeah.
it was good, but it was such a different character than what he plays
So
on
like,
S.H.I.E.L.D.
daytime Emmy good, but not Oscar good.
Right.
Okay.
So, if-
No offense to the daytime Emmy.
But-
Hey, look, they're not the Oscars, are they?
No, but the Oscars aren't the
I
daytime.
mean, they're
Emmys.
not even
Also true.
showing the daytime
There you go.
Emmys on televised TV anymore.
No, it's like on.
I went to them. They were a very fancy event.
I'm just saying it wasn't on TV.
Live stream.
Yeah.
But
Great live stream.
But after I saw that and saw, that completely different character, it made me like him on S.H.I.E.L.D. even more because I was like, oh, he's a good actor because he's like nothing
Aw.
like Charles Manson.
Super different?
On S.H.I.E.L.D.
I want to see that now.
What if he started acting like Charles Manson in the next episode? All
yes.
of a sudden, Deke is
I'd
Charles
be on
Manson.
it. I'd be on that.
Well,
Well, different
say?
character
Yeah.
things. Zayas points out that the actress who played Hale was apparently on Arrow playing a DA prosecuting Oliver.
Oh, okay. So
That's cool.
She's like, bye.
Yeah, she's like,
New show.
she's like, gotta go. Yeah. All right.
Well, not from the show, but I was going to say, quick plug, I interviewed Monish Dial, who was on the last season, and...
The senator's brother, and
Yes.
I'm bad with that
No, I
character.
forgot the name, too.
I'm
But
sorry.
I really liked
I'm
him
sorry,
for what
Framework
little bit
season.
he was.
I still
Yeah.
have PTSD from the Framework
love
season.
that.
But it was cool because he had a short film 15 years later, so I got to talk to him about that and like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and he was like, yeah, he'd want to be on another kind of superpower show again. So I was like,
Sure.
you were so cool, and
I'm
that
surprised-
interview will be online sometime shortly soon.
I'm surprised they let them jump from show to show like that. Like I remember like right before the girl that plays Blink on The Gifted.
Yes,
Like,
your
she
favorite
was-
show.
She was on Gotham as like, God, Like,
Oh, but see,
Well,
that's like
the-
different
the
universe.
veils,
That's
like-
super different.
Well, the girl
that's
who's,
what I'm saying. Like, to go from DC to Marvel, I'm surprised they don't say like,
I mean,
that you can't work for
you-
like another comic book
Also,
franchise for
the
like
girl-
5 years.
The
or
girl who
something
plays
like that.
Lauren on The Gifted was on Gotham as well. She was like this girl who was Gallivan, whatever the mayor's was. It was like his niece, and she was like flirting with Bruce Wayne. So she was on the show too.
Yeah, I know what you're
Yeah.
talking
And
about.
but you don't really have exclusive contracts for your day players who you have for like 3-4
I
episodes.
don't know. I
The
would
thing
be
that surprises
comfortable
me
with
is
it.
Josh Brolin
Yeah.
as Thanos, and 2 weeks later he's Cable. That like there should have been something in the contract. It's
All
like
right.
hey, you don't get to be another superhero.
Maybe I should say I'm surprised DC.
Yeah.
is
Well,
cool
there
with
you
all
go.
that because Marvel's overuses actors.
I was gonna say
in
there's
my
been
opinion,
movies that have had
but
different characters.
think
Very, very
Yeah.
true. I mean, we can talk about Chris
But
Evans as the
same
Human Torch and
timeline.
Captain America. So, final thoughts on this episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Carrie? I know we've talked sort of generally, but
I thought it was a good episode. I really want Yo-Yo and Daisy to like talk it out. Like, not necessarily
I was
like
wondering where that was going.
no, they got their fight, but it's just one of those like they're just yelling at each other, and it's one of those like, can we agree to disagree? I like May's moment of telling Yo-Yo, okay, you know what, figure out how you fit in this, or just don't be here when we come back. And I
Yeah.
like that of like, okay,
Also,
Yeah.
I mean,
the bickering's just dumb and accomplishes nothing. And only May's kind of the one that's like, children, stop.
Yeah.
She's very much their
I
mom.
like that.
yeah, definitely. That dynamic is more comfortable than Yo-Yo and Mac. Because
Yes.
Mac's just like,
I
don't touch
hate
me with your
that.
crazy robot
I
hands.
hate that so
that
much.
was so sad.
It's
Kind of coming around to each other.
I mean,
There was
I
that
thought
one
that I
scene.
thought that before this week, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you know, she did lock him up and take fits.
Throw away the key.
so
It's
you
kind of a
know,
whole thing,
whatever,
yeah.
it happens.
It happens, but that's the whole point. These things happen with family, and that's why we have talked about this before, as Michael reminded me. But we just want to briefly talk about some great families in the Marvel Universe. They can be TV universe, they can be movies, they can be comics. I will go first because I talk about the Fantastic Four a lot because the Fantastic Four have not had fantastic movies. And I just keep hoping that one day we're going to get a good Fantastic Four movie. Because they're great characters. They're a huge part of the Marvel Universe. They should really be right in the middle of Infinity War, but they're not. And I'm a big fan of Sue Storm, the Invisible Girl / Invisible Woman, and Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. I'm thinking from the comic books. Love Michael B. Jordan as Human Torch. Ooh, Kate Mara though. No, that's not. Jessica Alba was a way better Invisible Woman, and I'm not saying she was great. I'm just saying she was better than Kate Mara. But I don't know. I like that brother sister dynamic. That's a real family, the Fantastic Four, because Sue marries Reed Richards. So it's really just the Thing is the
and
odd man out, you know.
but he's still part of it.
Well, yeah,
He's
'cause
like
they-
honorary family.
He's known Reed forever.
I feel like you've been kind of dancing around it. So are you trying to say that Maria Menounos was the best person in Fantastic Four?
Yes, absolutely. She was amazing in it. I was so glad she was in it. In that Fantastic Four. Of course.
I liked those two.
The first two Fantastic Four.
No.
Oh.
The first Fantastic Four is the Roger Corman.
Okay.
writer. But no, I like the second two.
So that's what I
Yeah,
meant
I
when
like
I said
that
first two. Yeah.
cast. Yeah.
I thought it was fine, but and I don't know. I mean, the first one did well enough that they made a second one.
Yeah.
That's the other thing too. Is the Silver Surfer's in the second one, and he
I love
really
the
needs
marriage
to be.
scene.
Yes.
It's so great.
He really needed to be an Infinity War Silver Surfer, and it's very upsetting.
That's
that
a
he's not.
question I had
Yeah.
for you.
Uh-oh.
Do you think that if the Fantastic... I mean, I know the rights are kind of weird with the Fantastic Four,
Yeah.
but do you think if the Fantastic Four movie had done well, they would have been in Infinity War and we would have seen a Silver Surfer?
Tony's saying
Tony's saying
absolutely.
absolutely. I agree. I think that they could have worked some licensing
Like they
out
did
the
with
way they did with
Spider-Man,
Spider-Man.
yeah.
Yeah, they would have just been like, look, we really need them in this movie. Can we have the Silver Surfer? By the way, it's not 100% that we wouldn't see the Silver Surfer in Avengers
It's
4.
true. They
Just
could
saying.
That'd be
Later.
nice.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think he's an underappreciated character, and
what are his rights? Like,
well, he's wrapped up with Fantastic
I thought
Four.
so.
He doesn't really cross over because you get characters like we've talked about,
he's
Quicksilver.
with
who-
Thanos so much.
Yeah, no, I
like,
know.
Yes. I know this because of the comics.
That's
Yes.
right, because you've been doing
your research.
Yes.
your reading list, your summer reading.
Oh yeah, summer
It's
reading.
well,
'Cause
it's a summer
summer.
reading,
Yeah.
essentially.
Now, did you just like go buy a bunch of them?
No,
or
online.
Okay, cool.
Online.
Girl, that's not the way. You need the
No,
hard
I
copy in your
know.
hand.
I know, but I
I
don't.
forgave you X-Men #1.
I
That's
know
a
I
hard copy.
have that, but it's easier for me because I'm not used to reading comics. Like you start here, no, go here, and then the certain kind of font, so it helps. But also, it's super portable, and I'm not scared that I'm gonna
Oh, I
like,
completely
ruin it.
Usually go
understand
with
it.
the portable and having a lot of them, then just read manga.
Yeah.
It goes backwards.
I'm just
Oh,
old
also,
fashioned.
Oh
like,
yeah.
That's
What-
such a weird thing to point out of people who've never read comics. They have trouble reading them because they're not
Sorry.
sure how to follow the not just you, Amy, but
The thought bubbles and
yeah,
stuff.
another person in my life recently that I showed her the manga that I had, the Junji Ito, and she was just so foreign to
Well,
it.
those are backwards as well.
Yeah, but even then, it's
Yeah.
still the same principle where you read to a certain, you see, it's a certain chain of text that
You get
Yeah,
used to
no,
it.
but
Yeah.
you're smart with different manga books. You open the front page and they're like, oh, whoops, this is the back,
back
And look,
page.
and then
I've-
they show you a diagram of how you're supposed to follow it.
I've read thousands of
fun.
comic books in my
Yeah.
life. There are times where there are arrows that tell you because they look
Yeah.
at the pictures and they're like, okay, it's gonna be a little hard to follow, so go this
Yeah.
one to that one to that
Yeah.
one. And so sometimes it can be
It
a
does
little
help,
difficult.
yes.
But it's a
so
fun challenge.
Very quickly, because we've had this aside. So, what specifically did you read about Thanos? Did you read Infinity Gauntlet? Is that what you read?
Yes,
Yes.
yeah.
That's actually the extent of what I read because that's when I saw her comics.
Okay.
Like Infinity Wars and all these other things I haven't actually read.
You haven't read
Yeah.
Infinity Crisis yet, have you?
No,
That's
I didn't
the
even know
third
that
after-
existed.
That's after Gauntlet and War, right?
It's definitely after
That's
war.
when she gets to the AP reading list, and she's
Ah.
still like the 11th grade
I'm
reading
still
list. That's
following
fine.
Okay,
I
I'm getting there. Yeah,
I've only read Thanos Quest and I loved it so much.
that was fantastic.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
Thanos in that. Yeah.
Yeah, the last scene in Infinity War is where he's sitting there watching the sunrise. So you can look it up online. There's panels. It's in Infinity Gauntlet, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and he's just sitting there, and I forgot to talk about that last week. And so I don't know. I love those kind of homages.
Yeah.
And when Nebula's being tortured, that's right out of a different story. So I don't know. I like the way that they do some homages like that. But anyway, we're talking about family. So. The last time we talked about family, I know Michael was all in on the Maximovs, Scarlet Witch, and Quicksilver.
In the Summers.
Oh, and the Summers family.
Summers, too.
And
Maybe I
did you-
didn't go into them like
Did
I
you?
went.
Did you? So, oh yeah, and you reminded me that there's not just Scott Summers Cyclops, Alex Summers Havoc, and then there is
Rachel?
Well, no, but they have a third brother, right?
Oh gosh.
Mimic?
Yeah, I forget.
Yeah, I always
forget
forgot
his
about him.
name.
So then
He's
Rachel
the-
is like their future daughter. Cable counts.
Yeah, but
and there's
she's
Jean
the
and
daughter
Madeline Pryor.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very confusing family tree.
Yeah, that actually tied into something else that I don't know if we're gonna get time for it, but we wanted to talk about some crazy people in the Marvel universe.
We might have to
Maybe
save the
another- yeah,
crazies
let's
for
save
next
that.
week. I think that
Madeline
we'll really
Pryor
dive in.
is a great.
Madeline Pryor.
Great.
Have you read something of Madeline Pryor?
I've seen her in the comics.
If you want to see good Madeline Pryor, and by good I mean really, really bad, the Madeline Pryor that's just had enough is the Inferno crossover that they did, where it's like all the mutants are involved in that, and that's when she's the Goblin Queen, and that's
Loki's involved around that time too.
Do you like comic book Loki, or do you feel the
I
same
don't
way
like
about
Loki
just as a character?
any at all. No.
All right,
I don't think I know Madeline Pryor.
she is She's a clone. She's essentially a clone of Jean Grey. That's not how the character was created, but that's what they retconned, and that's what they settled on.
Okay.
Was that she was a clone of Jean Grey?
Mr. Sinister's experiment gone wrong.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But when she was created, it was just going to be randomly. Scott met a girl who looked just like Jean. He was going to move to Alaska, settle down, not be a superhero anymore. Anyway. So those are things you read. But so I talked about families that you liked in the past, Michael. But are those who you want to talk
Anyone
about?
in the future? Anyone right now sticking out?
No,
for
that's
me?
what you talked about in a previous episode. Yes, but
People right now, I want to talk
the
about
brother and
their
sister on The
families.
Gifted, right?
Your favorite show?
No.
What about the royal family on The Inhumans?
I think the Inhumans are super fun. In fact, I just found out we always talk about Quicksilver.
Yes.
I found out there was a really short running comic called Quicksilver in 1997. It only lasted a year.
I don't remember
And
that.
the Inhumans are in half of it. And I can't wait to get my hands on it. But I don't know. if we're going to talk about maybe something new school, I'm really excited to see in the comic books what's going to go on with Jubilee's baby.
So this is Vampire Jubilee.
Yeah,
has a baby.
she's adopted a baby named Shogo Lee. And I'm excited to see a child, hopefully maybe, I would like to finally see a child grow up in real time over comic books. I mean, I know it's so hard.
It's very hard
to do that, but with the way the franchises have been intertwining their stories, it's like if you could make a good 10-year arc where you knew you weren't going to change, like from legacy to whatever, you know,
That's ambitious.
maybe to see like a child actually grow up. Because, you know, if you look at Jubilee, she's probably one of the only people that I can think of that has kind of grown up over real time a little bit. Now she's like in her late 30s and the new Generation X, and she's running the team. But it would be really cool to see the child grow up and see what goes on with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think generally you have characters grow up really slowly in the comic books. I mean, in 1979, Kitty Pryde was 13 and a half, and I think now she's in her late 20s.
Or they grow up really fast. They
No,
do
they
like
do that too,
something
that's true.
weird, and they get transported to another place, and then their future self.
Colossus's sister, Ileana, was a little girl, and then they decided they wanted to age her up, so all of a sudden, after a 4-issue miniseries, she's a teenager, so she can be on the New Mutants. And, you know, and then she ends up being a little girl again.
Same thing happened with
yeah.
Cable. When they take Cable, because when he's a baby, he's Madeline Pryor's actually her son.
Yeah.
And he gets some kind of genetic virus from Mr. Sinister and has to be taken into the future. And that's when he comes back, you know, a grown man, and causes even more problems.
Well, family that you choose / kind of out of solidarity. I like the Runaways family. Like all the kids. As their own family unit.
Yeah, because
I mean, they
can't trust their parents.
Exactly.
So they have to kind of become their own family. I think that's
it's a family. It's your friends that have become a family, and then they all, pretty much all of them, don't trust their parents. So then they share that bond as well, which creates a different kind of unique relationship for all of them. But then you almost get incestuous because then you get Nico and I'm blanking on her name.
When I think of incestuous families, I think of
the blonde
Summer's
girl.
family.
The blonde girl. I was only
the
joking
Summer's
that
family's
because then
crazy.
if they're a family, but anyway.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
As a family,
they're
I
like
like them as a unit. They're fun.
step-siblings, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just a fun group too, and I want to see. I'm curious how the show will go because I was actually on Hulu and I'm like, I miss Runaways.
I know it was.
I want to see where they go because I'm like, I love this
They're
little
in
family
production
now.
on the second season,
Right.
so you know, hopefully before too long.
Yes.
And what are some family members or families, or maybe families you want to be a part of, Amy, in the Marvel Universe?
Yeah, Jessica Jones.
So
Trish.
I would not want to be part of
I
that
would not.
family.
I don't
you want
necessarily.
to, so you want to be like their third sister?
No, I don't.
You
Well,
just like
Wouldn't
that
that be
family.
fun?
Thank you in
You
the
could-
chat. Oh, Carolina.
Carolina, thank you so much. I just
I was blanking too.
Yeah. So you could go out on tour with Trish while she sings Cray
uh,
Cray?
Oh my! You know,
You could be a
actually,
backup dancer?
She needs someone to
Heck,
guide
I
her.
want your crazy.
I really
Thank
like that
you,
song.
Tony,
I
yes.
don't care. Well, no, I like them more because it's not your typical kind of family. Oh, understatement of the century.
True.
That's also family, not by blood, but
Yeah.
by choice.
But I
sort of.
also I like that season 2 of Jessica Jones. We got to see Jessica's mom and that interaction. Also, Trish's mom. Like all of that is so messy, but I love it. Would I want to actually be part of that family? No, not really. That seems way too stressful. But if I was put in that situation, I'd roll with it because I really like Kristen Ritter. So
I mean,
heck, why not?
Then you might, you'd have to really be able to drink a lot if you wanted to be part of that
Yeah.
family.
Well, that would not be
hardcore
easy.
liver.
Yeah. And I'm not a superhero. So
I
that'd
finally
be
finished
fun.
Jessica Jones, so I'm like,
So you're finally all caught up, yeah. So we talked about it. Did we ruin anything for you because we kept? Oh no, you actually were.
no,
you were
well,
away for a
actually,
little while.
only
I
ruin
forgot.
it in the sense of built up of Trish, like something she becomes. So I was thinking there'd be more, and I'm like, that's it.
Yeah, well, it's just a hint of how
cat stuff everywhere.
No, but I wanted like her to do
Yeah,
something.
no. I
You want a
mean,
costume?
Yeah.
Yes,
I wanted the
I want a
costume
costume
too.
too.
Like
Yeah.
fighting, and on like, let's say if it's 13 episodes, I wanted her to be doing stuff on like 11,
Sure.
not at the end of 13. And there's just so much more stuff that I found Trish super annoying this whole season.
No.
I was like,
love it.
oh,
I loved her this season.
Yeah.
Selfish
part of-
Trish is
Yeah,
the
Part of
best.
the-
selfish,
I kinda liked it, and then it was like-
bad decision-making Trish.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
let us know in the chat what you thought of to call back to Jessica Jones. One, how soon do you want to see the Hellcat suit? Like Jessica Jones season
Now.
3, episode 1?
Yesterday.
In the
Tomorrow.
first
Yeah.
minute?
Yeah.
I was
I
looking
want-
up the pictures after.
Yeah. Or and also, I mean, what did you think of Trish? Always let us know what you think. And some of your
Of Trish.
some
Always
of your
let us know what you think of
always with
Trish,
Trish.
yeah.
And some of your favorite Marvel families. We can always talk about that.
I will say
yes.
though, the thing I did really like about it is finally Jessica is having a little bit of like, maybe what you're doing is not the best course of action in life, because it's taking. That's the thing that I found frustrating with her with season 1 is like her kind of pity party me, which finally getting her backstory made it more sense. But now she's kind of like, oh, maybe this isn't like the way I should be living. And I was like, character development, yay! So I like that for her. But yeah, Trish and
I'd say
her
that's
mom,
the
Trish's mom.
overall just a
So
sweeping
complicated.
generalization. The Marvel Netflix shows, you're able to get really good character
Yeah.
development because they have so much time to work with. I mean, even Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you get 42
Mm-hmm.
minutes a week and you're spaced out. This is like you can kind of let it breathe a little bit. So personally, I enjoy that. We are pretty much out of time. Next week, I think, is when we'll talk about a fun topic we were going to get to this week. Your favorite megalomon... now I can't even say it.
Megalomaniac.
Thank you. Yeah, you're megalomaniacs in
say
the Marvel
that?
universe.
Try
You're,
saying that 5 times really fast.
no, I just barely said it one time. Your TV, movie, comic book ones, all across the board.
Maybe we
Also,
can use that song like by Incubus or whatever, Megalomaniac. I know. How
I
you
was
like
gonna
to
use
hear it.
I was gonna use that song
Or do you know-
Maniac from the 80s.
Maniac.
She's a maniac, maniac.
With
Yeah,
the...
yeah, because if there's an 80s song, it's what I'm gonna use. And hey, congratulations to Infinity War for making $1 billion in 11 days.
I like your
so,
quiet clap. You're like,
yeah, I mean,
Round of applause.
that's so there's something to be said for that. Tony, are you gonna say something? All of a sudden, there's like some. Oh boy,
Whoa.
Oh, Carrie,
Karen,
Yeah.
what'd you do?
I was like, I didn't do it.
it's okay.
Push
Okay.
it in.
All right. Well, oh, is that what happened? Oh boy.
Hold it there.
Just hold there. Well, we're gonna wrap up.
It's there. It's fine. Now,
I think you gotta hold it. All right, but we're gonna wrap up right now anyway, so it'll be fine. So anyway, thanks everybody for joining us on your date and time. We will be back next Sunday at 10 Pacific. And if it's past your bedtime to watch us live, you can always watch the archive, YouTube, and subscribe.
Or get a new bedtime.
Or get a new
Nah.
bedtime. Thank you, Tony B.
I like
Tony.
that idea.
And by the way, if you want more Infinity War talk, jump over to the Popcorn Talk Network for the most recent episode of Anatomy of a Movie, where I was there for some hardcore nerd conversation. 90 minutes with Phil and Dimitri, where we talked about Infinity War. And if that's not enough for you, well, you go ahead and you can find 2 episodes on Infinity War on my personal podcast, The Blackcast, BLADTCAST.com. And Amy, you're on Popcorn Talk
Yeah,
Network for
we
Marvel Movie News.
discussed it.
Probably gonna keep discussing it
Oh,
because
for a
there's
while.
a lot to
With
say.
who, maybe?
Well-
With who?
With Coy Jandro and Markia McCarty.
I think you wanted you
also
to say
box
him.
office breakdown.
And
And-
you,
and Tony B.
Tony B. Tony _. That is Tuesdays at 2, right? Yes,
Yeah.
2 Pacific
think
Standard
about it.
Time.
But
Yeah.
it's also Ryan Sands
And right, yeah.
the other special guest who's a co-host with Kevin Smith on his show he has. I'm sorry. I'm terrible.
Yeah, this last week we had 2
Great
very
plug,
special
Tony.
2 very
So yeah,
special
Ryan
guests.
Sands, our friend, who
Yes.
was
Yes.
here on the show, who follows me on Instagram,
Me too.
liked some pictures over the
Yay,
weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was a lot of fun, and they opened up this really nice box full of toys
And
that had to do
unboxing.
with Infinity War. So
Well.
there was a lot to unpack
Ah.
that episode.
All right. Well, you can follow me at Christian DMZ, Twitter and Instagram. Michael, where do people find you?
You can find me at Michael X Shirley on Instagram and Twitter. And be sure to keep watching because this is my last month as a recurring host here on Marvel TV Weekly. I'll be dropping in from time to time.
You're gonna get calls on Skype that
Yeah.
you're not expecting because it'll be
Yeah.
1 in the morning where you're going.
Yeah, I'll do
you'll be up. I
some
guarantee you'll be up.
Skype. I'll
Yeah.
come back every
Yeah.
once in a while, but oh my gosh, I'm gonna watch you guys every week and I'll miss you.
Oh, be in the chat.
yeah,
Yay!
I'll be in the chat one day and I'll surprise you.
Oh, that'll be
But
great.
yeah, keep watching and watch me on Tuesdays on Roseanne.
And Amy, where do people find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram, Twitter, pretty much everywhere online at Amy Cassandra MTZ. Also on Geek Bomb. I don't know if I've shared that with you guys.
I don't know if you have.
I don't think I have, so I'm sharing it now. We are doing a lot of coverage with a lot of very nerdy things. So just follow Geek Bomb on all social media as well.
And Kari?
Yeah, you guys can find me online at Kari D Lane. That's KaridLane.
All right, and of course, as I said in the booth, Tony B Tony _. And we will see you all next Sunday. Until then, Excelsior!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.